Hello friends, in this video we are going to see how to add different lights to our scene and also adjust the intensity of the light using the debug UI panel. Without further delay, let us get into the video. Now let's get into the coding part. As usual, in this page I have imported Three.js library, added orbit controls and imported debug UI and instantiated the debug UI using this variable const GUI equals new GUI and created a new scene and added mesh standard material. As we saw in our materials video, mesh standard materials requires light to view the object. Without light, mesh standard material will not be visible. And after the materials, I have created two objects. One is sphere and another one is the torus. One after the another I have added. This is the basic setup we have in this page. The output looks like this without any object shown. The reason is lights are not added. So in order for the output to be shown, we need to add the lights. So now let's add the lights one by one. There are many lights there. Ambient light, directional light, hemisphere light, point light, spotlight, rectangular area light, and so on. So let's see some of the mostly used lights. First, let's use the ambient light. So I'm pasting the ambient light code which I've added, where I've created a variable named ambient light and new 3.ambient light I've instantiated, and inside that there are two properties we need to give. One is the color and the second one is the intensity, to how far the light should be shown. That intensity value we need to define. So two properties, one is color and the other is the intensity. So I've given a color value and intensity, and as usual I've added scene.add added the light. Just like how we add objects and everything to the scene, the light also we need to add to the scene. If not, the light will not be added to the scene and the output will not be visible. So we'll add scene.add that variable name ambient light. Now I'm saving the page and let's go to this output. So this is how the output is. Whatever the color, the ambient color is shown for both the sphere and torus. Now let's adjust the intensity of the ambient light using a GUI panel. So let's add a GUI method to it so that instantly in our output page we can able to adjust the intensity. Based on the intensity, we can add that final intensity to the code. So which will be very helpful when you are working on the page to update the intensity or any other properties in an object. So now let's add the intensity. So we already I already instantiated installed the GUI library and I've imported that. That's the second step. Third step, I have added a new GUI method to instantiate GUI properties to my page. Now let's add this GUI method, GUI.add. What we are going to add, ambient light we are adding, and which property of ambient light we are going to modify is intensity. So the intensity we are going to modify, and min and max value. Minimum value is 0, max value is 3, or we'll give 4, whatever value is fine, and step is 0.001. Now I am saving the code, going to the output. Now the intensity is added. Now you can see I can adjust the intensity. But even though when I adjust the intensity, it's not that much elegant or visible. So we need to add few more lights to make it more realistic. Now let's add the other lights to make it more realistic. So the next light I'm going to add is directional light. I'm just copying the code, going to my page. Below ambient light, I'm pasting the directional light. So directional light, as the name suggests, it will display the light in one direction. That's what the directional light does. So just same like ambient light, we can call the directional light with new 3.directional light, and there are two properties like color and intensity. So I've added that to the scene. and the position also I have adjusted. So position of the directional light, any values we can give, x, y and z position. I'm just adjusting the position of the directional light so that in that particular position the directional light will be shown on the object. So now let's go to the output. We also have the directional light. Now you can see as I increase and decrease the intensity, the object's lighting is varying. That's because we have added directional light as well. So now let's add few more lights to the scene. So we have added ambient light and directional light. Now let's add hemisphere light. So simple, same like other lights, we're adding hemisphere lights, but hemisphere lights takes two color values and the intensity. That's the major difference here. I'm saving the code. Now you see after adding the hemisphere light, since I have given two colors, that two colors are visible in the objects. So now if I adjust my intensity, you can see the difference clearly. See how realistic and cool it is to see the output here. Depending upon the intensity value, we can adjust it. Now let's add one more light, which is the point light. I'm just copying the code for the point light. Coming to the code, adding the point light, same like other lights. It takes two values, color and intensity. Adding to the point light, position I'm setting it. So now saving the code, getting back to the page. Now there's still more difference after I add the point light to my page. So this way you can add more lights to add elegance and realistic look to your Three.js scene. Now let's add few more properties. Since we have mesh standard materials, we can add flat shading. So material dot flat shading equals true. I'm just saving it. Going to the output. Now you see the flat shading will be applied. See, the flat shading is applied. Now let's decrease the intensity. The flat shading is more prominent or more visible now. So this way we can add different lights with different colors to it to look more elegant and interesting for the users to view. But there are few points to keep in mind. All lights are not performant easy. So if you keep on adding more lights, the performance of the scene will go for a toss and it will take more time to load. So you should be always concerned about adding multiple lights to a scene. We should always keep in mind of adding more lights to the scene and always add lights which are less cost to the performance or which makes it easier to load the page. So cost wise on the performance, which has minimal cost or minimal issues and loads faster, is ambient light and hemisphere light, and moderate ones are the directional light and point light, and which takes high cost on the performance are the spotlight and rect area lights. So these things also you should keep in mind when you're adding lights to your scene. I hope you all like this video. See you all in my next video. Thank you.